What if the second half of your life holds the boldest, brightest, and most blissful filled chapter yet? But you're too tangled in self doubt to see it. Welcome to Rollerset to Mindset, the podcast for women in the third quarter of life, ready to shift from playing small to showing up fully in their God given purpose. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller. I'm a former master hairstylist turned faith based transformation coach, and I help women 50 plus step into the next chapter with clarity, courage, confidence, and yes, bliss. So if you've been sitting on a dream, or if you've been feeling like it might be too late or even too hard, this episode is for you. And I know I touched on some toes. I know some ears perked up with that intro because it is true. You know, us third quarter women, we find ourselves at crossroads. Yes, we do. And we know that there's more for us, but we just don't have the clarity. We don't know what to do next because a lot of times we've been so on top of things with what we are known for that when it's time to retire from that, or that role no longer serves us, and we know there's something more, but we don't know how to go about it. And when I think about my years in the salon, because I started in the beauty industry in my early 20s, and most of my clients, they were, in terms of age, they were ahead of me, maybe about 15 years ahead, most of them. So, and most of them I had for clients for all these years, 30, 35 years. And so when I look back on some of the conversations that I would have with my clients, there's this one client I thought about, and, you know, listen, names have been changed to protect the innocent. So how about I don't even call a name, okay? But I can recall one of my clients from back in the day. She um she was about 56. You know, she was nearly retired. And let me tell you something. This woman was spunky. She was healthy. She worked out. She's a beautiful woman, a woman full of ideas. I mean, full of ideas. But edging on to retirement, she was unsure about what she wanted to do next. And so every time she'd come to the salon, we'd talk about what's your next chapter? What you got up? What do you think you want to do? And guess what? She'd whisper, she said, "Girl, Angie, I feel like I'm supposed to do more. I don't feel like that it's my time to retire and just sit and travel or shop or do lunch. No, I feel like there's something more calling me, but I just don't know where to start." And how many of you hear that in your head, even right now? How many of you are having that conversation with yourself? Because I know I did. When I thought about retiring, I wasn't gonna step from behind my styling chair just to look pretty, shop, travel. No, I knew that there was more for me. When I think about it, I spent if I spent an hour and a half, 2 hours with a client, I can assure you 50% of that time was spent inspiring women, encouraging them to be all they could be, to be more, do more, have more. Just inspiring them to continue to grow and to not let life circumstances hold them back, to see beyond their circumstances. You know, that's what gave me juice. That's what excited me. So I understood where this client of mine was because I found myself in that same spot 3 years ago, I guess, when I started thinking about retirement. And so, like her, I had the wisdom and I had my life experiences, but what I didn't have was clarity, or I didn't I wasn't in a place where I gave myself permission to begin. And that's where a lot of us are now. And that's where my client was. And so I began just asking her, like I always would, questions. Because listen, we have everything we need within us, we have all the answers in us. And we just need someone to draw it out of us. And so I began ask every 2 weeks she'd come to get her hair done. I'd ask her questions, ones that eventually became, now that I think about it, the foundation of my clarity catalyst session that I have today. And through these questions that I would ask her, she eventually launched her first women's circle and began leading other women through grief and healing. And but that wasn't her ultimate calling. And shortly after that, because she had the courage to do something, to go first, she began she became certified as a coach, and she began coaching real estate agents into not necessarily being better real estate agents, but being better human beings, standing in their purpose, belief in themselves. And so she became a coach to real estate agents, building their mindset, building their can do spirit. So, this is the deal. A lot of us think that we need we need all this special training, or we need all this major experiences. No, no, that is not what put her ahead of the game. What put her ahead of the game, not necessarily a business plan. She needed belief. And belief is built on clarity. And once you've got clarity, then as you do a thing, you build your confidence. Once you build that confidence, you get courageous, and then you every act you take builds on the previous act. And before you know it, you rocking and rolling. You making waves. You're creating impact in other people's lives, not just your own, but other people's lives. So that's what I'm here to tell you. A lot of you are not stepping out in this third quarter of your life because you lack the awareness that you can do it. A lot of us do not trust ourselves. And if trust is an issue for you, put it in the chat for me. Put it in the comments. Let me know that trusting yourself is it's something that's holding you back. It's a problem for you. It's a struggle for you. What about clarity? If clarity is a problem area for you, being clear on not just what to do next, but being clear as to who you are when it pertains to your gift and your abilities to make a difference. If that's you, then I want you to put that in the chat. And so through working with women, now that I am a transformation life coach, and through working with women and my experience behind the styling chair, what I discovered was that there were four main things that was running through the mental thought process for women as to why we felt stuck, why we couldn't move forward. And the first one is, if this is you, I want you to put a happy face in the comment. Because here's the thing. there are four things that lets us know that things aren't right for us, that we are standing right on the edge of creating a next life chapter. We know we want to do it. We dream about it. We daydream about it. We think about it. We admire when other people do it. But why aren't you doing it? Even if you're doing it or not, I want you to examine yourself, examine your life, and see if you are dancing with these four cues. The first one is this: you feel out of alignment in your current life, in your current profession, in your current headspace. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that your spirit is restless. Things just not seem to be working. You're just not satisfied. What used to fulfill you now makes you feel flat. And that reminds me of back in the day when my husband and I, my husband, he's a good dancer, and we would go to the club and on Friday night, and we dance the night away. And when we went, we'd go with friends sometime, and sometimes we'd go just, hey, just us hanging out. But after a while, when we started attending church more, reading God's word more, finding out who we were in relationship to Christ, we'd still go to the club and want to dance, but each time we both agreed that something's different here. Just the music didn't sound the same. Our moves wasn't as enjoyable. Something had changed. When we stepped into the club, I felt a disconnect. We felt out of alignment. And so that was a clue for us that we were headed on a different path. That there was more for us, and where we were hanging out, who we were being, was out of alignment for us. My spirit became restless, and I could no longer accept that as my norm. So that's a cue to you when you know that there's something more for you, that you're on the cusp of creating your next life chapter. If that's you, put a happy face in the comment. You feel out of alignment with your current life. The second thing that I saw that popped up through all the conversations that I was having with my client, and to be frank with you, to be honest, these same cues still come up as I'm coaching women through the process of creating their next life chapter. And that is this: you keep having a reoccurring idea or divine nudge. Isn't that something? Spirit just not going to let us rest. It lets us know when it is time to move forward, to elevate ourselves. You keep having a recurring idea or nudge from spirit. But what do you do with that? Tell me what you do with that. When you get that nudge, do you listen? Do you jump on it? Do you seek more knowledge, more understanding? No, this is what you do. You keep brushing it off or downplaying. If that's you, put a 1 in the comments. Are you that person? You keep brushing that nudge off, that divine idea off, and you downplay it. Why? Out of fear, out of lack of awareness, out of not being clear, out of just being comfortable, or thinking small, or thinking it's too late for me. I've missed my time. I know you do it. I used to do it too. So I'm just here pointing it out to you, trying to lead you to the water, because I know if I lead you to that water and you're thirsty, you are going to drink. So, what's the third cue? Tell me what you think that is. Put in the comment, what do you think that third cue is to let you know that it is time to create your next life chapter? I'll tell you what it is. You've started consuming more personal growth content, whether it's through a book, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's something on YouTube, whether it's engaging in conversations with someone else, whether you're watching different type of shows on TV. Yes, that's what you do. You start moving in the direction of your growth because listen, there's no way around it. You can't run from it. You can run, but how does the saying go? You can run, but you cannot hide because guess what? It's going to find you. Your curiosity is a signal that God is stirring something up. And listen, He always wins. Always. So if you're that person, if you find yourself start consuming more personal growth content, more content of value, more content that tells you elevation is your birthright, or you'll hear something and it resonates with you, that positivity, you know what I mean? It's like, or you'll be driving and you'll see a sign everywhere you turn. There's something telling you God is trying to tell you something. And I know I'm right about it because it happened to me. And the fourth cue that you get when you know it is time to start that next life chapter, guess what happens? You become restless. You become fearful, but you also feel excitement. You also feel something, some level of bliss, something stirring in your soul. Like you have that look on your face like you're keeping a secret, or people ask you what you doing. You look different. You energetically, you giving off a different vibe. You know what I mean? And what that is your transformation revealing itself, because you just can't hold it down. That's just like all the four seasons. When it's time for spring, honey, you're going to start to see some flowers. You're going to hear some birds. You know, when you're going to see some rain, you know, it's that age of transformation revealing itself, budding up, showing you that it is time for a change. And sometimes we don't even see the hardcore evidence that transformation is on the horizon. Because when I think about Noah, think of Noah. See, God didn't wait until the rain started to give him purpose. He didn't. The ark assignment came while everything was still dry. You know, that thing rolled up on Noah. And same with you. Your next chapter, that desire, that thought, that thing is going to roll up on you. And the clues that you had stirring within you wasn't strong enough for you to take heed because it wasn't your time, it wasn't your timing. Yeah, you'll get some thoughts here and there, some clues here and there. But it's not sometimes that thing is suddenly. And so like Noah, it was still dry. There wasn't no sight of rain, but God spoke to him, he listened, and then he took action. That's the key word, taking action. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe you're in your dry season. Maybe last year was your dry season. Maybe the year before you retired was your dry season. But dry seasons is a time of preparation. And so maybe that's where you are. You look at it as a dry season. Ain't nothing working out, nothing turning, no fruits growing, no evidence of more. But listen, you are in your preparation season. And I think I was listening to some podcast. Can't remember. I think it was Rachel Rogers' podcast, and Tabitha Brown was on it. And she talked about her dry season. And she said by the time she came out of her dry season, she was crispy, meaning she was ready for more. That dry season prepared her in a big way for her next. So that's what I'm saying to you. You may feel like ain't nothing working out. You're in your dry season, but you are being prepared. Because with my fuller life C3B method, I take people through a dry season because you have to know what it looks like to not have before you can appreciate the having. It helps you to understand the process. It builds resilience. It builds courage. It builds confidence. And before you know it, you are living in your bliss. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is don't despise the small beginnings because big things have small beginnings. You know, big things start small because you need time to grow into it. So don't despise the dry season now because that is what's going to allow you to appreciate, cultivate, grow that harvest that is waiting for you. I promise you, it's waiting for you. So I can feel you nodding your head like, yeah, yeah, that's where I'm at. I feel like I'm in a dry season. I know because I've been there. And that's one of the reason I created um, something for you, for those of you who are in that season of life, that dry season of life. And I call it my fuller lifestyle C3B method because it's a soul centered framework designed for women who have the heart, the history, the hunger, but they need the clarity to begin. And here's the thing, the best part about that is you can take your first step into your next chapter without enrolling into a full program. Some people need an intense moment to propel them forward. And I understood that. So not everybody's ready for the full program. But I bet you're ready for something less than that. I bet you could handle a 90-minute experience and a follow-up to make sure you're on track and you're moving forward. And I'm going to put the link to that in the notes. But it's about, where you are, the season you are in, and doing what you can to move forward. It's about uncovering what's holding you back, what's really been holding you back. Because until you uncover that, you're going to be spinning. You're going to be spinning. You're going to be walking in the wilderness until you uncover what's been holding you back. And the thing that I have found through my own life experience, through my own research, through my own helping other women, is that you have to clarify your divine assignment. Our assignments are given to us, but it doesn't always come with full clarity. You know why? Because you can't handle it all at once. You got to take this thing in stages. You got to take it in step. So you begin by clarifying your assignment. You want to create an alignment for yourself. do things in steps, doable next steps. The next smallest step that you can make that's going to lead you to your promised land, lead you into your next life chapter. You just don't jump into it. No, 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 no. You are guided through it. And you can't miss any of the steps because you gotta build it on a strong, steady, sturdy foundation. And yes, as you do that, guess what you're doing? You're building confidence, you're building courage, you're taking action. And before you know it, you're doing things, you're living the life, you've created this, you started the business, whatever it is, your next assignment is. You're doing it fully. You're doing it fully, and you're creating impact, not only in your life, but other women, people lives as well. And as you go through this process, I want you to really consider begin journaling because it's so important to get it out of your head, out of your heart, and onto paper because you want to keep that transformation going. And you can't hold it all in your head. You got to put it on paper so you can go back, look, and course correct. And so this is it. This is the point of all of this. This is what I want you to remember about you, the truth about you. You are not starting from scratch. Please don't ever think that you are. You are starting from wisdom. Yes, you've got the knowledge, but knowledge is just knowledge. It's just a thing. If you don't have understanding and you don't have wisdom, okay? You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from wisdom. You're taking that knowledge, you're understanding that knowledge, and you're operating from a place of wisdom. And wisdom makes for your powerful beginning. And that's what I want you to know. And so if you're ready to stop waiting and you're ready to start living in your next chapter with purpose, here's what I want you to do. I want you to join my free community on school, the Fuller Life Chapter Hub. It's a supportive space for women 50 plus. I'll leave the information down below in the notes, in the comments. And then I want you to book your Clarity Catalyst session. I only have a few spots. I'm only working with a few women, no more than 4, so that we can go ahead and get you aligned and you can start living into your next life chapter. I can't wait to see what you have to deposit into this earth. You're not too late. You're not too tired. You're right on time. I'll talk with you soon. Okay? Bye. Mwah.